What's up, everyone? It's Matt Mrozik, and I want to do a quick video kind of showing you what I did this past weekend. So went to a painting class in a little town of Texas called Cedar Park, which is just north of Austin, Texas. My buddy Floyd Blazin flew in from New York City on Friday, spent the night here, and then we drove down Saturday morning and met up with Mark Havacan, the Filmies girls, and a couple other guys, and took a painting class put on by a company called Andrea. Now, if you don't know who Andrea is, they're a company out of Spain, and they specialize in miniatures and white metal figure kits and some resin kits and stuff like that. So Mark Havacan messaged me a few months ago, like, hey, there's a painting class near Austin. I'm going to go. Do you want to go? I was like, let me ask the boss if I can go. Asked the boss. She said I could. Then I messaged Floyd and asked if he wanted to come, and he said sure. So we had a really cool weekend hanging out, just talking models and stuff and painting. So had a great time with the guys. So I want to kind of show you what we did and show you a couple of goodies I got while I was there. So, you know, one of my weak points in painting is hand painting. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to kind of take a jump at that. Now, that being said, the guys giving the class were teaching us a very specific style of figure painting, which I'm not a real fan of, but the techniques that they were teaching were pretty good. So what we did is we worked on this guy, a German stormtrooper. The quality of this piece is actually really, really good. So with the class, you get the figure. They give you a base. Their base is actually really nice. Wooden plinth. They give you a couple brushes. These are the Vallejo Red Sable Kolinsky brushes. I guess it would be their version of like a Winsor Newton Series 7 brush. And they supplied all the paints and stuff. The only thing they didn't supply were like optivisors if you wanted them. Like next time I do now, I'll take a hair dryer and things like that. I'd bring some of my own brushes because I really felt like I could use like a flat brush and stuff for certain things. But overall, really, really, really high quality class. I'm glad I took it. It was worth the trip and everything. So here's kind of what we end up with, at least what I ended up with. And this is not a finished piece by any means. The whole purpose of the class is not to walk out with a finished piece, is to learn techniques and learn how to kind of apply those. So this is all done with hand painting, all acrylics, and for overall, there are a lot of things I like about what I came up with, and other things I'm just not real thrilled up. But again, overall, it's about 10 hours of lesson, and it's things that I can apply to my other paintings. So that was the whole purpose of me taking the class, was learning some hand painting techniques that I could apply to the big guys. So this is kind of what I came up with. The things I like about this that ended up with in the end were like the helmet. I'm really kind of happy with the results there. The uniform, the red piping, I thought turned out really well. The leather strap looks pretty good. His clothing I'm pretty pleased with. I'm actually most happy with the gas mask, which we did this morning. And I'm, you know, again, not being finished, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not a historical person, so I'm not sure if the colors are accurate, but we kind of just based on what the guys teaching the class told us, and kind of went with that. So like on Saturday, we worked on the face and we worked on the helmet a little bit, and I think we base coated the shirt. And then today we had like 3 hours of class. We did the red piping, the leather strap. There's a little neckline of a t-shirt and a gas mask. So, specifically what their techniques were, like really super high contrast in the skin. And if you look at this piece from a distance, it looks really good. But as a miniature, you want to look at it close. And the transitions are very, very sharp. They're not smoothed out really well. And that's kind of like the one thing I wasn't real thrilled about, you know, coming from an airbrush background. But the effect is actually pretty good from, you know, you look back here, it looks really good. You get closer, you can see that the transitions are really sharp and stuff. So in my opinion, this is kind of like where you would start, and then you would start layering on very thin layers of skin tones on top of this to kind of blend it all together. But overall, it looks pretty good. Actually, one of the things I'm most proud about are the freaking eyes. I suck at painting eyes, and he doesn't have pupils yet, but everything else looks on eyes like spot on. I mean, like nice highlights. and everything looks really good. So I'm proud about those because I usually don't hand paint eyes. So that's kind of what we ended up with in the end. Of course, this isn't finished, but I think what I'll do eventually is I'll probably end up stripping this and starting over. What I'll probably end up doing is stripping it. I'll apply some airbrush and hand painting techniques I learned in the class, just because that's just my comfort zone. I think if I started out with some airbrush first and then went and did some hand painting, I'd be much happier. But I did learn a lot about. They talked about like building up highlights and using a pyramid scheme for lighting and stuff like that. So overall, really good knowledge and just kind of some interesting techniques. One thing we used that I had never used is a glaze medium with the paints, which actually makes blending much easier and much smoother rather than just using water. With an acrylic paint, if you can add as much water you want, but eventually the pigments will break down and they'll separate. With a glaze, that doesn't happen. It seems to be able to stretch the paint out a little bit longer, and it slows the drying time down quite a bit, so it allows you to work the paint and really blend it in. So like some of the areas where the glaze worked really well, like in the folds here, you can see that the transitions are real nice and smooth. You don't see like a definite paint stroke or anything. Like from the shoulders to the top down here was all used glaze medium. So what I found out which worked for me is I would make the highlights really strong, the shadows really dark. You base coat it first, basically kind of like how I do airbrush. You base coat it, strong highlights, strong shadows, and then a coat over all that. And so I found that if I did those, brought up the highlights really bright, the shadows really dark, and then glazed over that with like the mid-tone, I would get what I want and it would blend pretty well. So it's kind of combining what you know with airbrush and some of the hand paint techniques and just applying them back and forth. So that's what I found out worked for me, and I like the effect of that better rather than the very definite like separations of the tones. But what I do like in the face here is we use all sorts of colors. We use purples and blues and pinks and reds, and it really does give it a really nice kind of natural skin tone look to it. And now again, you have to kind of look at it from a distance for that to get that real effect. You start getting in really tight, it looks a little weird. And everything has a viewing distance, so the bigger the piece is, the further away you look at it. The smaller the piece, the closer you look. So something this small you would look at from about a foot away, maybe 18 inches. If it's bigger, you look at it further away. So I think like that's why I hardly wear an optivisor, to be honest, because I paint at the distance that it's going to be viewed at for the most part. But overall, I'm really happy with the results I got in 10 hours. I think it's pretty good for someone who's never attempted this before. And I've got a lot of kind of knowledge, kind of little tips and tricks here that I can use to apply later. So that's what we did in the class. It's a lot of fun. And to be honest, the most fun was hanging out with Floyd and Mark and the other three guys that I never met before there. And the painting was just kind of a bonus. So the little, of course, where this class was held was in this little town north of Austin, and that happens to be their North American distribution or headquarters center. So being that it's their headquarters, you figure they have a crap load of stuff in the warehouse. Well, their stuff is small, so it doesn't look like they have a lot. But what I did end up picking up were 2 kits and a book. I'm going to start out with this guy first because this was recommended to me by Mark Havacan and Floyd. And it's just a really cool sculpt. All their stuff is historical or original artwork, and I think they do have a couple pieces. I'm not sure if they're licensed, but they do have like some likenesses of certain characters that are not from shows. But this one is one of their original pieces, and it's called After the Battle, 1/10 scale, and they do millimeter let, so it's 165 millimeters. And this is a resin and white metal kit, and they give you, if you're interested in what colors were used to paint there. They have their Europe location there, and then here's what their prototype paint. Or I was telling the guys that were doing the class that I paint prototypes, and they kept referring to it as box art because you paint and it goes on the box, but the stuff I do does not go on the box. So it's just a prototype paint. But what I was hoping to achieve in the class was to learn kind of to get this real smooth transition look. So it looked like it was airbrushed but hand painted. So I think I needed to find a class where the guys that teach the class use this technique. Again, not that the technique we learned was bad, it just wasn't my preference, but I did learn some cool stuff. I want to learn how to do this with hand painting, like these skin tones. These looked like they were airbrushed, but those were hand painted. So that's my goal. And then here's the side art. You can see what they did there. Yeah, Andrea stuff is really high quality. I had never seen it in person. I knew about them. And one of the things I got is something I've been looking at for a really long time. And since I was there, I grabbed one. So you get a resin kit, resin white metal kit. And the resin part is the torso and the clothing and his head. Quality's pretty up there. It's pretty good. They're more known for their white metal than they are for their resin. And it kind of shows if you look at their resin pieces compared to their white metal pieces. The white metal is far superior in quality. The resin's pretty good. They got some work to do. Like on this piece, the sculpt looks good. The casting's pretty good, but there's some areas, there's like a big piece of resin sludge right here under this strap that's got to be dug out. There's actually a mismold on the shoulder here where the mold shifted, so that doesn't line up. I would say it's like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. As far as I'm concerned, compared to what I've seen, and considering how much these things cost, they're not cheap. But a cool piece anyway, nonetheless. So you get the resin bust and head as one piece, and then it comes with a white metal helmet, which is done really, really well, and it fits seamlessly on the head. It's like that. It's keyed very well, sculpted very well, casted very well. It's got a nice big dent in it. I'll let they put a dent in it. It's awesome. And then you get a white metal sword in a sheath, and that goes on the back here. Again, sculpted very well, detailed very well. And white metals, I've never really painted it, but I have worked with it a little bit. It's very similar to resin. It's casted, so there's going to be a mold line you got to clean up and stuff like that. So there's a mold line here. And the tricky part is going through the hilt here, on the handle there, where you have to go through all those little areas to get the mold line out. But it'd be the same thing if it was resin. It's just a different material. So that's nicely done. And then it comes with some other very small, fine details here. You got basically the straps and stuff in white metal. And these are done kind of like a plastic kit. They're on a tree. You cut them off, you trim them up, and then those go across the chest of the character. Like, looks like you got some straps coming down from the helmet, white metal. And then there's the buckle. This part right here is done in white metal. So a cool piece. Yeah. Oh, and it does come with a little base, little resin base. This is really messed up. Actually, they sanded it way crooked. So probably use this as a working base and not as the actual base to put it on, because it would be crooked, but they give you one anyway. All right, so let's look at the next kit that we got. I'm going to throw that back in there. Sorry about the noise in the background. My niece is here spending the night. And they give you some little pamphlets and stuff. And they give you a little ticket of the kit that you bought. So if you have anything missing or anything, you can refer to that and they can take care of you. So this next one is part of a series that I've known about for quite some time. It's their Pinup series. And these things are beautiful. The sculpts on these are amazing. And the reason I like these is because it reminds me of Filmy's Girls, Pinup stuff. And these are all white metal kits. And I've seen this one before. So as a photographer, I've always wanted this one. And they had a few others, but I just grabbed one because these things for this beautiful sculpt. And my camera stopped recording for some reason again. Artwork comes with a playing card, and then they show you some of the, I almost got this one too. This is another one. I think this is called, I like the name of it. This one's called Watch the Birdie. And I forgot the name of this one. I almost grabbed this one. This one's called something Arrow. I almost said the Archer, but they got really clever names based on what they are. And this is an all white metal kit. And luckily, Bob, the guy giving the class, showed me how these things are packed, because I would have messed with packaging. Hey, can you guys turn that off or keep it down? So here's the playing card. Pretty cool if you collect these things. The packaging is done really well, because the white metal is fragile. It's soft. And then they give you a basic painting guide in these guys. You know how to work with white metal and the basics of painting. Pretty cool. And of course they have all their products and stuff you can buy on the back. Those come with all of them. And then here she is. She's a small piece, 80 millimeters. So I'm not sure what scale that is. But sculpted very, very well. And in here are all the little pieces of the camera. She comes with a little base. I haven't looked at it. Keep stopping recording. It's really frustrating. Hopefully all this footage is here when I'm done. But it all keys together very well. I play with the body a little bit. So she goes together like that. And then you got this little part of her dress that goes in front. But again, it's like resin. You got to clean it up. You got to get things to fit. You know, it's a model kit, so you got to work on it. Get everything to fit. But she's got her little. So you got a little underwear here. I'm not sure what that's called. It's got a certain name to it. And then her legs go together. Let's see, how do those go together? Oh, there's key in there. But she's got nylon stockings sculpted in there. Those are very faint. So you pin these and glue them. Yeah, the nylons are there. They're just really, really faint. But it looks like the fit on this is pretty good overall. We get keys together pretty well. Yeah. Her legs go up in there, and she's got a little base to go on. What I really like is there's a film slide here where she would have her film. The film holder. Yeah, so she goes in the base like that. And then we have the camera. This is a view camera, if you're not familiar with that. 4x5 view camera. Yeah, we got the top of it. It's got the dark cloth. Dude, that fits perfectly. Man, that's a beautiful fit right there. Right on top. And then we got the tripod that it goes on. This tripod's like super, like the legs are crazy delicate. But surprisingly, it looks like it fits together really, really well. I mean, these legs are crazy, crazy thin. But they have the keys in the base here for them, so pretty cool. And then here's the little birdie right here. It goes on top of the camera, goes in her hand. So really neat little piece. So those are the two kits I got. Again, I've been looking at these little pinups for a long time. They've always been very intimidating because they're so small. But what I got to go along with this is actually a book by the artist, or one of the artists that works on these. So I'm going to put her to the side real quick. Let's put that back there. I'll pack it up here in a minute so I don't lose anything. And then I got the book, Painting Pinup Figures, and this is by Julio Cabos, who I'm not familiar with, but apparently he's a very well-known miniature painter that used to work for Andrea. And this book is specifically for painting their pinups. So it's an interesting book because it goes through the very basics of painting, like your tools and stuff you need. How to work with the white metal, how to take it apart, how to clean it up, sand it, how to put it together, and how to putty it. So this is a really good book for anyone who's never done white metal because it goes through all the steps of how to prep it and everything and how to put it together. Using Milled Put up here to put it together. And then all the paints, of course, it's all Andrea products. They want you to buy their products, which is understandable. And then it gets right into it, how to paint, you know, painting with a brush, which colors to use, and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to get going with this book and give it a shot. Now this book he uses hand brushing and he uses airbrushing, which is what I'm looking for. And you can see here with his skin tones that they're really smooth. And this right here is showing all the hand brushing he does. And what I love is they put little arrows showing the brush strokes, like the direction that he's using his brush, because that makes a huge difference in shape, adding shape. And then, so that's that one piece. Here's doing makeup. Again, it's all hand brushing. Doing the hair. Here's the piece I just got. I'm not sure if it goes into that specific piece. I almost got this one too. I really like this one's. But they're each little piece is a vignette. Here it is painting the stockings. Then now we get into airbrushing. Basics of airbrushing. How to set your airbrush. Base coating the figure with airbrush and doing that. So yeah, really cool book. So very good for anyone who wants to try to get into this and really has modeling experience but has never done this before. So, and then here are all the pinups in the series. And these are about, I want to say again, they're not cheap. They're like $80 a pop or more. But I just love them. They're the pinup. They're tasteful. They're like film these girls. They tell a story in a very small little space. The lift up. Oh, the missing arrow. That's the one with the archer. The missing arrow. I love the expression on her face. Just really, really tastefully done pinup style female characters, and I love that. It's a way to paint a sexy figure without being raunchy. But yeah, I've known of these for a long time. Here's one that's got some nudity in it. You know, she's in the bathtub. Same with this one over here. So you can get a little more risque with it. Love the hit the leather. This girl right here. Just really cool little pieces. Some of these in 6 scale would be just awesome to paint. But so yeah, so it was a fun class. Got some goodies and got to hang out with my buds. So it was a great time and I had a blast. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. So that's kind of a little video on the painting class I took this weekend, and I got to hang out with Floyd and Mark. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. And I hope to do another class. And whenever I get a chance to work on this little Watch the Birdie Kit, I'll do a work in progress video because it'll be a whole new process for me. Never doing that before. So again, sorry for the noise in the background. It's always crazy here. And thanks for watching. Bye.